Being today's day is June 22nd, 2020, and the time of 11 a.m. Bring this meeting to order. We have discussion and motions, if you'd like, for this evening's actually Wednesday's meeting. What's the pleasure of the committee?
Mr. Chairman, would you like just a quick discussion?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. So I want to go back to on June 2nd, the Board of Selectmen held. During a normal meeting, they were reviewing the articles for town meeting, and there was a 3-2 vote to support going forward with the articles. 2 of the members voted against it. One was looking for more information and wanted to wait until after the planning board and finance committee held their public hearings. And then one of the members had said that he had received a lot of calls, but he really didn't give any specifics. So that 3-2 vote, I think, was, again, I was present for that. I don't believe that that vote was a vote against it so much as it was one looking for more information and one being unclear why he voted no. On June 8th, the planning board held its public hearing, its required public hearing for zoning articles. And that was a unanimous vote of the planning board, but the chairman wanted to make sure that letters were going out to both the Board of Selectmen and the town moderator to support an up or down vote on the articles themselves. And I went back and looked, and the zoning bylaw committee itself did vote to recommend an up or down vote. So that's on the record. There have been discussions with the moderator, senior town council about that. And it looks like in discussions with Charles that it really couldn't happen out of the box. It's not something that the town moderator could take upon himself to do, but there could be a vote prior to a vote on the article if the body was willing, the body being town meeting was willing to do an up or down vote, that it could go forward that way. Then the finance committee on June 10th voted at its public hearing to unanimously support the articles. There were questions relative to the mandatory affordable housing units, which were addressed. And then there was also a question about senior housing services on East Street, which had failed at the previous town meeting. And one of the finance committee members wanted to make sure that that was included in this bylaw. If you remember, we did talk about this and it was included as a use. So all of that led us up to, I think, last weekend, where we started receiving phone calls and emails in the town manager's office and the Board of Selectmen about how important zoning is, and that there were people that felt that this was being pushed through and their health concerns weren't taken into consideration because of the pandemic. So that's what kind of started this whole conversation. And I had talked with a number of the committee members, and I've talked with a lot of people about this, but you know, I have my own personal feelings about this. And you know, if the committee wants to talk about this first, or if you want to hear how I feel about this, we can go from there.
Well, Mr. Chairman, and Mr. Saber.
I mean, for the record, I think we should hear what Steve has to say, even though we've all had private discussions with him.
I agree with that.
Okay. This is a very unique time with the pandemic right now. Something that we haven't faced before in trying to implement town meeting. And my opinion is, and again, I've been with all of you through this for the last 4 years now, and attended your 35 plus meetings and the 11 public presentations and everything else that we've done. But I would hate to see this approved or denied under the cloud of COVID-19. And I look at it from two perspectives. One, it was approved at town meeting on Wednesday. People are going to criticize us as ramming this through and not giving town meeting members, primarily seniors, consideration for health concerns in the pandemic. Again, I could see the debate on this probably lasting a few hours. So to hold people indoors for hours talking about this one article, I think we would face a lot of criticism. If it's voted down this Wednesday, then to try and bring it back when we're past COVID-19, people would tell us, we've already voted this down, so why are you back here again? So we're almost, in a rock and a hard place, really. But I think the safer way to protect the integrity of the bylaw is to withdraw it for this town meeting and then bring it back at a later date.
Stephen, the only question I have, what is your opinion on a later date? The October meeting or next May?
So I had a conversation with the town manager about that this morning, and it's hard to predict what's going to happen in October. We're not sure if we're going to be seeing a spike at that time. October's town meeting is going to have its other articles on there for financial purposes. So unlike an annual where we have Wednesday night solely for zoning, it would be combined with other articles, which would make a lengthy fall town meeting. The other thing too is that there was one other concern in the fall. Let's see, weather, voting, pandemic. Oh, there'll be criticism that we're bringing this at a special town meeting and not at an annual town meeting. And again, that completely misses the substance of what we're trying to do. But there are people that believe that zoning should only take place at an annual town meeting. And I can envision just kind of hearing those criticisms and kind of trying to knock that down just to get to the substance of what we're trying to pass here. So, I would hate to say it, but I think the next annual would probably be the wisest time to bring it back. But that's for the committee to discuss. So,
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I agree with Steve, vis-a-vis the people talking about the annual town meeting, but more importantly, I don't think in October that we're going to be, back to normal. I think there's still going to be a lot of people that are at risk that, I wasn't looking forward to going to town meeting myself, it's very uncomfortable wearing a mask when you have allergies and conditions and so forth and so on. So, my vote would be to definitely continue to withdraw it from the town meeting and let people know that it's not coming back till next May because, what are we going to be? Even if we're at 75% in October, that's still not 100%, but that's just my feeling.
Mr. Chairman, can I speak to this as well?
Yes.
So,
go ahead.
I received no less than 20, 25 phone calls on this from residents and people in the community with concerns about either themselves attending the meeting or their parents attending the meeting, and people that have been following us all along. And then I also heard the same criticism about, I think we were talking about bringing this last fall to a thing, and then we decided to bring it to a spring meeting because once again, we heard the claims of it shouldn't be in the fall meeting, it should be in spring. That's when these articles should be brought forward. So the number of phone calls and the number of concerns, honestly, I'd be surprised if we have more than 100 people that are going to be showing up to this meeting. And seeing that I've gotten 25 calls and I get 25% of maybe who might show up, I'd make a motion that we put this off till next May's meeting. And that's my opinion on it. I just think there's enough concern and calls in the community that they all want to be involved. I'm a little discouraged because I wanted it to go through as everybody else did, but I think with the COVID and everything else and the other concerns, it will look, the perception would be that we're trying to sneak something through. So I'll make a formal motion that we move it till next year's meeting.
Do we have a second to that motion for our discussion?
Second,
For discussion?
second for discussion on the motion itself.
I just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. I can understand a motion does that, but if anybody else has any insights or questions, questions off this, I'd like to have it out in the open now. Hearing none?
Wait, hello, hello, my hand,
Go ahead.
my hand's raised. Okay. I agree to IP the article for this spring. I would prefer to have another discussion. Although I do understand that the book has to be ready, in August for the fall? Yeah. So I'm fine with moving it to next year under one condition, that we do not touch any substance of the articles. Like, I don't want to be touching it. Like, if the sole reason for us to withdraw these two articles is because of COVID and health concerns, I don't think it's appropriate that any amendments occur between now and then, unless there's an extenuating circumstance. So I guess I would like to make that clear, because we need to be consistent with why we are seeking to continue it. And it's not because the document's not done. It's not because the document has anything wrong with it. It's merely for a public health reason. So I really want to be clear on that I will support it under that kind of understanding. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Mr. Cupo?
Yeah, I agree with Aaron. The only caveat to that would be if something is on there for this town meeting, a private article, that like changes a piece of property or something like that there, that then that would be included. But, we could worry about that later. I think, Mark is right. The one question too is like, how do we get the word out so that people that feel like they're compromised and don't want to come, but they think it's important and they want to come? Steve, are we going to be able to get that word out to people, or is that not possible?
Well, what I'll do after you vote this morning is we'll send out a notice via the town website and all of our social media feeds. But I think the moderator will also make an announcement tonight that a request has been made by the proponent of the article to withdraw it, just so that we try to get as much of that out, being factual as possible to people. And obviously, it's not over till it's over. So there may be some people that will want to show up Wednesday night to make sure that it is withdrawn. There may be others that want to see it go forward. So I mean, that's kind of a risk, because we can't end it today. It's going to have to play out Wednesday, but we get the information that all of the intentions of this committee is to pull the article.
And for the reasons that Aaron stated.
Thank you, Stephen.
Mr. Chairman, I totally agree with other members about not changing anything, but I wouldn't want to tie our hands to put something in there that says we're not going to. If something comes up, I mean, there's no intention, I believe, on having any meetings, having future public meetings or anything like that, unless it's to notify them maybe in the spring or something like that. And with the COVID thing, that may bring changes to how businesses and how zoning and how something may be done. So I wouldn't want to tie our hands to say we're not going to do anything, because something may come that we weren't expecting, that we may want to discuss that. Just, I mean, I think the work has been done. I agree. I would submit it as things, but I also wouldn't want to make a statement that we have no intention of changing anything if something happened to come up and said, you know, it could be something that came through where the medical center, they come up with a vaccine for this, and all of a sudden they're looking to build something on 38 and they want to put a medical center that's going to do, like I said, it could be some sort of zoning or something that we'd have to change, or some sort of thing that we'd have to discuss. I just don't want to tie our hands. I'm in agreement with Erin's thought that we shouldn't go through the process, or given the perception that the reason it's not passing is because of that. But I also wouldn't lock us into changing the motion to say it goes to town meeting, but we can't change it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to just tie our hands, because then we're doing. I think we're all in agreement that we don't plan on doing it. But like I said, a year is a long time. That who knows what may come up. So I leave my motion as is, and we withdraw it because of the COVID, and we move it to next May's meeting. And if something comes up and we need to change something, at least we have the ability to do so.
Mr. Kratman? Mr. Kratman, are you done?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I will ask Mr. Wortman, do you have any further discussion on that?
Nope. I just want to make it clear we're delaying it for a public health reason and nothing else. And I agree. If something comes up between now and then, I mean, 365 days is a long time. Something comes up, something comes up. But I want it to be clear that that's the reason. It's not because the document's not done.
We can make a statement to that. I think we can make a statement to that when we pull it at the town meeting.
Mr. Seth,
Mr. Chairman, I think if we change it up, it might be something that the planning board would bring forth anyways, and our committee pretty much is going to be dissolved.
Stephen?
Yes.
Steve, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is there possible, all our intentions, obviously we're all on the same page. Might be some concerns, but is it possible that we could have a motion during this discussion for a call of the chairman to have a meeting based on information in the next year?
Can you repeat that, Bob?
Sure. That at the call of the chairman, based on information that is received in the next year, we might want to have a meeting before town meeting.
So that brings up a good point.
I know it does.
That committee's gone.
Right. So the committee expires at the end of this month. So the question is, does the committee want to stay intact until the town meeting, or if the committee does not, which is fine, we'll just have to figure out the mechanics in the future. That's it.
That would just be a typical planning board function, you know, if the town came up with an article like what Matt described, if there was something unusual, it doesn't have to be our committee. Our committee was to take it from and go through it 100% from cover to cover. If new things come up along the way, it should follow the proper process of planning board, selectmen, and town meeting.
Stephen, would you be uncomfortable? Aaron, Stephen, would you be uncomfortable if the committee motioned to have you be our spokesperson if in case we're no longer a committee?
I don't have a problem doing that. I don't think it will play out well, though.
Yeah, okay.
Documents stand, as Dick mentioned, if there's something, I could think of something like there's a decision at the Federal Communications Commission that changes cell towers that we need to make an adjustment. You know, that type of thing could happen. And Dick's right. I mean, if it does happen, then maybe we get the planning board involved on that, or the select, you know, somehow we'll make the adjustments if something comes up. But at the end of the day, the document is a standalone document that this committee recommends out that should be advanced at the next annual town meeting. If something comes up, we'll figure out a way of addressing it in the future.
Thank you, Steve.
Karen has-
Unless someone has something different to add.
I just, oh,
Yeah, Karen?
yeah. I feel like, I mean, if we're not meeting, I do think the committee should, I can't even believe I'm saying this, stay intact. Just for I know, Dick, no one wants off this committee quicker than me, but I do think it's really important to remain as a committee. And as chair, Bob, like, you can call us together at your leisure. Obviously, if the documents to remain intact, we should meet even virtually once before submission for town meeting, if there are any changes necessary to be made. But I think it's important in a lot of ways that the planning board is separate than this committee, because honestly, the planning board would have done it themselves if, sorry, my dog, if that was the intent. So that's all.
Steve, does that sound good to you?
Yeah, I agree. I kind of agree with Aaron. I mean, I would personally like to keep the committee on the books, but really not the committee meet at all. Until just
All right.
submission, you know, and that kind of gives us the flexibility. If something does come up, we can convene and address it.
Very good. Do you want that?
Mr. Chairman.
You have that in the form of a motion?
Well,
Yes,
let's hear what Mark has to say.
So that's exactly what I was going to say, Mr. Chairman. The committee was appointed by the selectmen. And so I think there should be some sort of formal motion that the committee would like to remain intact for another year. And if that is made, then I will gladly make a motion at my selectmen's meeting to reappoint everybody at our next selectmen's meeting, so that everybody will be intact at our, so this way I can reappoint everybody to be on it for another full year. All right, so two process for town meeting.
I did receive a request to be to fill out another form to be reappointed. I'm sure maybe Dick did too. I submitted mine with the comments that said, like, I hope this passed, like, I hope our job is done at this town meeting, but if it's not, I seek reappointment until this thing goes to town meeting. So I don't know if that others receive that. I mean, I think the only, if it needs to be reappointed, Mark, I would appreciate that, obviously, support.
I just think if we make a motion as a committee that we'd like to remain together to see this through things, then there's a motion, it comes in front of me, I clarify, everybody's reappointed till next year, and just to make it clear that, because I don't want to put out that we're looking for new members and is there openings, and then we get into a whole new, and then if we get new members on it, then all of a sudden somebody may want to say, I want to reopen. That's why I would like to reappoint the committee as is, you know, to make it clear.
I don't want to work with anyone else, everyone. So
Yeah.
can we,
Well, that's,
Chair, could we deal with our motion that's on the floor right now? And then I will make another motion once that the motion that's on the floor, I assume, passes.
so moved. That's good, Ellen. I appreciate that. We have a motion on the floor that has been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Bob,
We
you
have
should
to
do a roll call.
We roll call, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Don.
Roll call vote. Mr. Chapman,
Aye.
Aaron Wharton,
Aye.
Who else is here?
Dan,
Aye.
aye.
From myself.
Me.
Richard Cuco.
The Cuco votes aye.
Very good. Anyone else?
Aye.
I'm reading the names here and they're going. All right, the motion is passed. Aaron, you have a second motion?
Yeah, yes, I do. I'd like to move that we request, the zoning bylaw review committee requests that all existing members be reappointed. So we are able to remain intact and bring this code finally to town meeting.
I was gonna ask if you could do it, but I think you did the same thing. I was gonna ask if you do it to the close of the 2021 town meeting, but I think maybe you already done that.
Sure. John, you can help me
Okay.
with that motion.
Of course.
Thank you.
Second.
Does that satisfy everybody?
Second that
Motion?
Chairman.
Very good. We have a motion made and seconded on the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Roll call.
I know we're doing, well, Mr. Cuco,
Aye.
Aaron Wortman,
Aye.
Mark Bratman,
Aye.
Chairman votes aye. Unanimous.
You have Ed Johnson too.
Oh, I didn't know. He's so quiet. I'm not even sure he's there. Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
did you vote on the previous motion?
He
I
did,
heard him say yes.
he did.
Okay, all right. As long as you have that, Don. Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded unanimously. Ladies and gentlemen, I guess, anything else to say? We'll see you at town meeting sometime. Yes, Aaron? Yes.
If there's no other business, I'd like to move to adjourn.
Sounds like a pleasure.
I second that.
Second. Third.
I'm like, get off mute, someone. Let's go.
Motion to adjourn is in order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Every vote's a roll call, Bob.
What's that?
Every vote is a roll call.
The Cuco votes aye.
Have we- Mark Bratman,
Aye.
Richard Cuco,
Aye.
Aaron Wortman,
Aye.
Chairman votes aye. We are closed. Thank you.
Don't forget Mr. Johnson.
I
All
voted.
right. Oh, my God.
He votes aye.
Didn't know he was there. Thank you.